Hi, I'm Georgie and this is my mum, Sarah. We're a multi-creative mother-daughter duo based in Australia. Welcome to our mid-century garage studio. This is where we make, paint, write and capture, and these are our weekly studio diaries. This week in the studio was unforeseen, from flooding to kiln repairs to further concept plans for our relaunch and also the results of our kiln load. Here's our studio diary for this week.
So this morning I've come down to the studio to meet with the electrician and find out what's gone wrong with Collin. Hopefully we'll have Collin back in operation today. So the issue is we have two burnt off wires down there. Good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
What's the diagnosis? Well, what's the diagnosis? Ern's here, and he has said there are two burnt out wires. So I've just...
Is that major surgery or is it?
No, he's just fixing it. I do love the fact that he, he can do that sort of stuff.
So while Ern fixed our kiln, we had our Monday morning meeting. We have these meetings to bookend the week, to review content, bounce off ideas for the week ahead and schedule our tasks. And before we knew it, Collin was all fixed.
How's it going?
Job's complete.
So now we have Collin firing again. Hopefully, cross fingers, Collin will behave himself and fire beautifully again.
If you could hear the loud noise in the background of that last clip with Mum, we put a new load of slip in the mixer and we started tidying the studio to prepare for making for the day. That was until we hit a bit of a downpour. Absolutely wild. We pretty much just had like a second summer and it's been mid to high 20s Celsius and it's really cold this week and absolutely bucketing down, and now it's leaking through the front door.
Not a towel.
Oh shit. Oh my god.
So that's where it's coming from.
Oh my god. In a matter of 10 minutes, the whole studio floor was covered in a few inches of water and we just had to stand in the middle of it and wait for it to finish.
Okay, I'm going to had a 100-year downpour. I've never seen anything like that.
Holy moly.
Holy, we just had flash flooding. We've just had flash flooding in the studio and we've worked out where it's coming in through the Collin is still running.
Colin's still running, that's the important thing.
Colin's up on dry. But we've got our entire studio space inundated. It's bizarre.
Over the next hour, we cleared all the water we could from the studio space, but because of the dip in the floor, Mum had to push the water upwards towards me and I had to flick it out the door, otherwise it slid straight back down. You don't realise how much Australians swear until you're in a crisis.
There'll be lots of bleeps on this video.
Do you feel like buying us a coffee? Because we'll need it after this. It's in the link. All the peak cinema happens when Horvath's not here. He's at home.
Meanwhile, back at Henderson Cottage,
Horvath is roasting a steak for lunch. When you have peak cinema and the cinematographer is not here to film it.
Meanwhile, Collin's going actually really well. Collin is at 638 degrees. Thank you, Ern. And calm in a crisis.
Do you know, it's funny, it's kind of like the baby sleeping through the thunderstorm. Like, I had no idea what was...
Yeah, has definitely slept through the storm.
Well done, team. No, he's crying over spilt milk.
Cry when you laugh, but we've just opened the fridge and in the mad rush to shut the fridge door to go and save the flood. I've obviously knocked over some milk. At least it's not off.
No, he's crying over spilled milk, right? Looking pretty glam for the studio.
We have family coming to stay, and I just wanted to open Collin because this is the first firing after Ern fixed Collin yesterday. Yeah, a while. He's at 112 degrees, and the bisque is looking pretty good. I think it's quite funny. We did some test colours on here on a glazed plate that had cracked, and it's a pale pink glaze.
Did crack further in the firing too.
Look, there's absolutely no point in pretending that a little hairline crack in a bisque piece is going to get any better. So, but the colours aren't entirely true now because it's on pink. But that's okay, we've got an idea, roughly. It's a very pale pink glaze, so.
I like the
Which one do you like?
spruce is
I
nice.
love Bluebeard. It's a really beautiful navy.
I love that. And also,
It's hot.
I know, but
Spruce.
like what
Yeah.
that reminds me of is like you have this like aqua perfume you've had ever since I was a kid. Blue Dawn's quite nice.
Blue Dawn's quite nice, yeah.
Yeah. Irish Luck's really nice. Green Thumb's a little bit too green. Army Surplus is a bit too yellow.
Just
I think.
Froggy's good.
Yeah.
No, they're all quite good. So here's our beautiful bisque chicken. First of our new chickens in our new colourways, which is exciting. Oh, yes! They are hot. So popular at Easter, but we had a friend request a couple for her children. So these are vintage little bunny moulds, and she's requested some yellow ones. So we've poured them especially for her, and I did 2 sets just in case one of them didn't work or something. So this is our honeycomb bowl. Now the story behind this bowl, the mould was taken from a milk glass bowl that was given to me or handed down to me from my grandmother, and I still got the original bowl, and I really sort of thought to myself, I love that, and if that bowl ever breaks, I just will feel sick. So before that happened, and it certainly hasn't, I decided to make a mould from that particular bowl, but it really is such a pretty design. So we're going to call it the honeycomb bowl because we decided we're not going to make it look like honeycomb necessarily, but the shapes
Kind of looks like honeycomb.
kind of does look like
with
honeycomb.
the hexagons. Oh, no,
Yeah,
hold on.
I don't know where the original design came from, but you know, I love finding old vintage bowls and then making moulds from them. So we're doing that a little bit. So I've got 2 of the honeycomb bowls already. I've got 3 of these moulds, but one of them, every time I poured it 3 or 4 times in a row, it would collapse basically and collapse in on itself. And look, moulds just have a use by date, like a lot of things. So we had to throw that mould, unfortunately. But
a couple left.
But I just thought this was quite cool as a funnel or something in the studio. I just thought it would make a really beautiful bowl. And the intent is actually to put a stand on it. On some of them anyway, so, and change the design of them, but it's a vintage mould, and it's one of those ones that we just love. The idea is that we can start putting things that actually looks quite cool. I want to start putting some feet on things. Poured this one a little thick, but I actually really like it. This is again from one of those vintage crystal bowls. I just love this in clay as opposed to glass. And it looks amazing with different coloured glazes on the outside. White, kept white on the outside, but a glaze on the inside. A coloured glaze, looks amazing. So excited about that. And just one of my little cone balls. Ooh! I just love the moment where you take off a shelf and, oh my God.
There's Matilda's bowl.
My granddaughter Matilda and I made some pottery together. So this is her first bowl that we made together. So I'm going to glaze that, and I'm just so excited about this because she just loved making pottery with me. Oh look, I had a spare coaster, and I just thought at the last minute I'm just going to do some chrome oxide decoration over Maholica glaze, and I'm really happy with that. This has got a bit of a long story. my English friends overseas were very big on this, and they always had a beautiful butter container on the bench. I think in Emma Bridgewater. I learnt from staying with them that butter in its normal natural form is much better for you. And so after that I started sort of struggling with not having a butter container that I liked. So I've made one, and I'm just trying to work out, I think I'll keep it fairly neutral for our kitchen, or I might paint it up, I don't know yet. Lost the foot.
Oh, there's always some form of a kiln disaster. Like, not in a bad way, just like sometimes things just don't.
Well, there you go, that's my little disaster, but the actual bowl's fine, so I'll sand that off. But I lost the foot. I obviously didn't attach it with enough slip. Never mind. I'm happy with that one. Ta-da! I'm so pleased with that one. Tiny little bit of chrome oxide that shows how handmade it is. I'm really happy with that. Oh, now that's interesting. So this is why you do tests.
What's happened?
Well, it depends on the clay. Interestingly, these are my stoneware tiles. That one is that one's the vanilla. I quite like that, but it's a bit too dark.
I wonder why they crazed. Could that be because of the failed firing?
Maybe. That's been a bit of a disaster. Well, that's interesting because that's Maholica, which is normally brilliant, but it obviously doesn't like this clay. So I'm going to have to get another stoneware clay. This Feeney's clay is particularly, which is an Australian clay, is particularly finicky with some glazes. So interesting to see that the Mako stroke and coat is perhaps a bit thick, so it's pinholed a bit, but it's actually quite a good finish. Pinholing here, so obviously the glaze is a little bit thick. Something to remember.
That's on pinholing too.
This one's crazed a bit. That one is a chrysanthos glaze. That may have undefied. I'll have to check on that one. But these ones just crazy. Like that's almost an effect in itself. This is another one which you can see very much 3-year-old has made some lovely holes. So it won't hold anything except a few trinkets maybe in her bedroom.
Bracelets and things.
Yeah. But how special is that? Oh my God, look at that glaze.
Feeney's fine blend doesn't go orange.
Look at the brown one.
The brown's cool.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't want it to be brown, but...
What was it?
I don't know. So this clay is, quite problematic. If I'd made it out of stoneware 7, we wouldn't have an issue, would we?
No, and stoneware 7's very beautiful and white.
Yeah.
Stoneware 7.
This is a rustic stoneware clay, yeah. Sort of almost terracotta colour. Cafe au lait, that's gone quite dark. But I don't want them that colour. But I just want to test the colour. But obviously the clay can pretty much take that glaze, which is Mako. So that's interesting.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. This one's not too bad. But that one's, look at that. That one's not too bad. I have to... Right, so there's Collin's first kiln load after the drama of him not firing, and now he's fired twice. So that may have impacted some of the test tiles. I don't know, but we'll have to put a few more in rather than do the whole load and wreck them. So I've got 168 to fire, so I did a few extras. So I'll test fire another half dozen and see how we go in the next load.
For the remainder of the week, we updated some of our brand imagery and we also balanced lots of other commitments. I actually learned photography to capture the studio and to help us get seen back in 2020, and that catapulted into a successful photography business, capturing for top brands and magazines and working around the world. So in next week's vlog, I'm going to take you behind the scenes, capturing imagery for Hope & Co. and some of my best tips to help you capture your own beautiful content too. We are preparing to photograph some of Mum's paintings today. So we're going to be using this wall here behind me. I'm going to set up a tripod and we're going to capture the paintings so we have a record of them. We've got them for the website and also so we can turn them into prints.